I'm starting the recording here.
All right.
Okay, and I'm gonna try and not shake this sucker. And it looks like it's gonna hang in there. Looks like we're gonna get a feed. And this is Aric Leavitt with another installment of Bluegrass Legends Mix and Lore. Good afternoon, Aric. How are you doing today?
Howdy.
Howdy, wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'd like to talk some more about Bill Monroe and specifically about Bean Blossom, Indiana. Now, for how many years now? Roughly a half a century maybe. Bill Monroe, well, you know, Bill Monroe is departed. He departed in 1997, I believe. But they still do the event. The largest bluegrass festival anywhere in the world, and there's quite a few that go on, but the very largest one, the biggest and the best and the baddest, you might say, is in a little town called Bean Blossom, Indiana. You know how many people live in Bean Blossom when there's not a bluegrass festival there?
600?
About 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
About 100 people. It's in southern Indiana, in Brown County. Brown County is, the basic region there of Indiana is home to a number of little tiny hamlet towns like Santa Claus, Indiana. Bet you never heard of Santa Claus, Indiana. Nashville, Indiana is a little bigger than Bean Blossom. Nashville, Indiana, a quaint little town. Yes, there's a Nashville in Indiana. Stony Lonesome, that's another one right in that general vicinity. Well, in the third week of June, Bean Blossom is populated by probably roughly 100,000 people because of the Bluegrass Festival. People come from all over the world to that event. I went in the year 1972. That's the only time. Bean Blossom a little far from me being in California, but I did go in 1972. It was one of the highlights of my entire life. How old was I then? 23 years old. I was 23 years old then, 23 and a half. And it is an experience. If you're a bluegrass fan, you have to go to Bean Blossom, Indiana at least once in your life. And you will see what you may never see anywhere else. Well, at any bluegrass festival, you're going to find a real synergy of bluegrass enthusiasm. People aged from 8 years old to 80 years old, jamming together, making music, doing the music that they love. There's something very, very magical about Bean Blossom that when you go to Bean Blossom, you don't want to leave. You just wish it could go on and on forever. But you take the memory of it with you wherever you go from there. Now, the location there, it's called, my memory serves me right. It's Country Music Jamboree Park. Bill Monroe's Country Music Jamboree Park, I believe, is what they called it, or Brown County Jamboree Park. Anyway, I would like to relate an experience that I had with Bill Monroe there. And I'd already met Bill once before. He came and played at one of the Bay Area high schools, and I went and saw him there. And that's when the first time I ever met Bill was in about 1965. Well, Bill did something that for me was very unique, and he can get personal with a lot of people. He invited me to come into the barn and show me some stuff on the mandolin. He had just gotten a new mandolin that week. Now, the old mandolin that he always played, the very famous one that says the Gibson on it, but he had a little something with Gibson, and with the name Gibson on that mandolin anymore. Just the word the. I won't go into that story because I don't know the whole story. But he had gotten a new mandolin that week, an extra mandolin, and he was trying things out on it. He said, "Come into the barn. I want to play you a couple tunes that I wrote this week, just for you, one-on-one." So I said, "Sure." Well, the first tune he played, and keep in mind that he had just composed these tunes a few days ago, a few days before this day that he invited me into the barn. And the first one he played through it. It was beautiful, goosebumps. And he said, "Well, that one there is Tan Yards." Tan Yards. It's a place where they would do the cows and the animals and it was a particular place there in that brushy area where they do the animal skinning and all that. And I'll never forget it. Then he played the second tune that he had written that very week, Jerusalem Ridge. Now, any bluegrass fan out there hearing me talk about this knows Jerusalem Ridge. And any bluegrass musician, except me maybe, I still haven't learned how to play Jerusalem Ridge one of these days. But he played his tune Jerusalem Ridge, which has been recorded by many bluegrass artists. I was one of the first persons to hear Jerusalem Ridge, one-on-one, in the barn, standing as far away from, he was standing as far away from me as you are from me right now, maybe 3 feet away. And he played Jerusalem Ridge for me. It was, I'm telling you. And then he played a third tune. Which he didn't write. It's been around for years and years and years. Anyone remember a little tune called Arkansas Traveler? He played Arkansas Traveler. Has been one of my favorite tunes. Even back before I knew what bluegrass was, when I was just 6 years old, I had a little kiddie record that had a fiddle player playing Arkansas Traveler. Well, when he played Arkansas Traveler, that brought the tears to my eyes. I'll never forget that. Never forget that experience. What I'd like to do is play you a Bill Monroe tune that he recorded in the 50s with his band, and the tune is called Wheelhouse. And I would like to tell you all what a wheelhouse is. Living in California, you're not going to know what a wheelhouse is, but back in Kentucky, you know, if you live in the mountains, you know what wheelhouse means. Wheelhouse refers to the cart that's pulled by a team of horses up there in the mountains, and you got a team of 4 horses pulling that cart, and it's you know, it's like you know, plowing the ground and all that. Well, the wheelhouse, hoss of course is horse, wheelhouse. The wheelhouse refers to, you got your 2 horses in the front, and then you have your 2 horses behind the front 2 horses. Now the second team of 2 horses, not the 2 in the very front, but the next 2 horses, are the horses that are bearing the brunt of the load. They're the ones that are responsible for most of the inertia release to pull that plow. That's what's referred to as the wheelhouse. Now, who but a mountaineer there in Kentucky would know that? Oh, by the way, I did want to say one more thing about Jerusalem Ridge that I forgot. Bill told me that Jerusalem Ridge And I've seen footage of it on videos about Bill and his family and the home place there. Jerusalem Ridge is like a woodsy, very special woodsy area there, probably near Rosine, Kentucky, where he and his older brother Birch used to go hunting. And the footage that I saw of Jerusalem Ridge was you throw one little rock and hundreds of birds are going to fly out of there. Jerusalem Ridge.
Now before you get into Wheelhouse, the town in Indiana, name it again?
Bean Blossom.
Bean Blossom. How is it that the Bluegrass Festival came to be held in Bean Blossom?
You know, I can't answer that because I don't know.
That would seem to be a story. 100 people, why would anybody go there? Must be something about Bean Blossom other than maybe somebody just had some land and wanted it.
Well, when you're in Bean Blossom, and you know, southern Indiana there is part of the heartland. Bluegrass is concentrated very largely in the heartland, which includes Ohio, the Ohio River, all that. Southern Indiana, Ohio, even into Pennsylvania a little bit. It isn't just the southern mountains. Kentucky is not all that southern. It's really a border state. Mm-hmm. West Virginia is another one. West Virginia actually borders part of Ohio. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not. That makes it.
Well, we'll look it up. We'll look it up.
A little more north
than south. Find out how
south.
Bean Blossom became the headquarters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so back to Wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse. Let's play a little Wheelhouse for you here. That Wheelhouse, boys. That's Wheelhouse.
All right, thank you very much, Aric. Look for more. We'll be doing more of these as time rolls on.
I'd like to say one quickie about Bean Blossom, and the reason I would suspect that they chose Bean Blossom.
Go
that,
for it.
That whole area there, Bean Blossom, Nashville, or right there, it takes you back to a previous time. If an airplane flew over Bean Blossom, I wonder if some of those folks would even know what it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We're gonna look for that, and we're gonna probably advertise that on the site too, let people know how to get there and all that. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Legends, Licks, and Lore with Aric Leavitt.